In this video, we will design our Signin UI. So let's go inside our localhost, and we need to add a couple of things. First of all, let's go inside Redux, and for the app we have loaded, and we need to check for the user, and let's call it false, or give it a value of false, or maybe we can change it to session false. Now we need to go for Zeus app, and inside Zeus app we need to add a page, and let's call it signin.js rsf, and let's create a signin class name and call it auth rel, and we need to add h1 class name equals let's give it font size of 16 font, and we will call it sign in to WhatsApp, and let's call it title. And for the logo, if we can go inside Zeus app, we have splash, and we have a logo. Just import again inside this sign in, and simply copy this logo, and we need to add a logo class. Great. Now we need to save it. Let's go inside subs and create a new file and call it countries.js, and inside countries.js I have grabbed this JSON array from gist.github.com/goals/3196253, and it is actually has a lot of modifications, but I have came across to this JSON array is far more accurate than rest of blocks. So we need to copy and paste inside our countries, and before that we need to type const countries equals and just paste this thing. Now we need to add export default const, or maybe export const countries, and then we need to add all these blocks. It has a lot of values like name for the country, dial code, and we have a short code for the country, latitude and longitude, and all that. Perfect. Now we need to expand the ellipses, and for that we need to go inside file, and if we can find the, if I have not, just code preference and settings, and for that we need to type a word wrap, and for a word wrap we need to trigger it to on, so that we can just view all the content of this countries. Great. And then we need nothing else, so let's save and check if there is no error inside this JSON array. So go inside sign in and let's import countries from subs countries and check for any error. Now we need to go inside those app and just import sign in, or maybe what should we call it? Sign in page, maybe sign in page. Well, let's keep the sign in from pages, sign in. And for the loaded thing, we need to replace couple of things. First of all, we need to replace just a second. Okay. We need to check for a couple of things. First of all, we need to import a route here, and the route will check for the routing. So let's add we need to remove the splash and just add a fragment, and inside that fragment we need to import it real quick, fragment. And now let's add sign in, and we will add a route, and the route will have a couple of properties. First of all, we need to add an exact match what we are talking about, and then the path should be slash, and we will add a render method to check for the additional properties. And first of all, we need to check for the app state. Just add state.app, and then we need to check for this session, and we will add loaded session, and we will check if we have any session, like session is true, then we will simply render the messenger. Otherwise, we will render the sign in page and save. This way we are now presenting this sign in page. So let's go inside the app.scss and quickly add this sign in auth class. .auth, and for the auth we have a logo. Let's add a height of 50 pixels quickly, and then we have the title, and for title we will simply add a margin 20 pixels vertical, and for auth we will add background white and a width of let's use 400, and we will add a margin for top 100 pixels, right should be auto, bottom should be 50 pixels, and left auto to keep the block in center. But we can use a much bigger block. And what about 150? Yes, good. I need to use the width instead, and 150. Great. Now I need to add a text align as sender, or after that let's quickly check for the margin. We already have a nice margin, so we don't need to add vertical margin here. And increase the width. Great. Now let's add font size of 20. Great. Now we will add one more line, and let's call it enter your phone number. We will send an SMS with verification. Well, let's change it to we will verify your number by sending a verification code. Sending a verification code. This is it. Let's save. Now we need to just disable the word wrap. Just change it to off again. And for sign in, here we go. Let's save. Here you are. And change it to 15 maybe. And I guess we should add a BL class, and the BL will use the display block. So BL display should be block. And for the text line, just remove that. And we need to add margin 0 auto and save. And for the padding, we will use 50 pixels. Here we go. I guess we should remove the margin thing as well to keep it nice and clean. Okay, if we can just remove the width, it is far more height. Okay, I guess we should either remove this logo, or because it is annoying me actually, I have grabbed it from web and it has some margins issue. So let's just remove that logo. And save. And we will yeah, let's go without the logo. And now I need to add margin bottom. Let's add a 10 or maybe 7. And now we need to add, by the way, I should mention you that if you want to use the Firebase pre-built UI, you can do that. It is not necessary to follow this Signin UI, but I like keep things customized, because the pre-built UI has styling limitations. You cannot just style that pre-built UI out of the box. So I prefer going with my own simple UI. Let's add a B for bolding out. Now let's add div class name, and let's use phone. And now we need it for a select, and give it a class name of input. We will use this input class to globally set the styling for each and every of our input. And we have S15 font and let's call it Signin. Now we need to check for countries. Console.log countries. If we are, it has this, it says it don't have any default const. Here we go, and we should just change it, export default countries, and save. Here we go. Now we have, oh sorry, const countries, and here we go. Now we need to check for the structure temp10, and we have name, dial code, code, and latitude longitude. But the thing is, we need the dial code and name. So we will start with a map. Let's call it countries.map item, and we will add an option with, let's add item dot name with code. Maybe we should just go with the dial code instead. Code, and the value should be same, item dot dial code, and save. Now we have the entire dial code, but we will use a value +92 because it is from Pakistan and I am from Pakistan, so let's go with +92. And we need input, don't need to add any type, or maybe we should go with number. We will use the same class name, that is input, S15 and font, and it has a font class as well. So let's save, and inside the auth we have Signin, and we need to declare a global input. For that we will use a border 1 pixel DDD solid, and a padding of 3 pixels and a height of 30 pixels for now. Let's get started. And we need to add a placeholder. Sorry. And for the placeholder I will use 300. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Here we go. Now I need to add Signin, and the Signin should have a margin top of 25 pixels. Great. And for the input we will use a height of 40 or maybe 42. Let's go with 40, and padding of 3 and 8 pixels. Let's go with 4. Perfect. Copy. Sorry, we need to add it here. Save. And for the input we need a margin right 6 pixels, and for the font let's add flex 1, and for flex to work let's add flex AIC, or maybe we should go with a width of 300 pixels maybe. And after that we need a button. So let's go with a button, call it continue, class name. By the way, if you are concerning about the language thing, then I need to repeat. We will add the language support later, but now I need to just speed up the process to keep the video short. We will create a single video to replace all the possible labels to add language support, and we will add a theme support as well, so that you can just switch between dark and a light theme. Let's add a button class, S15 font and B, and CFF for white class. And the time is to add a global dot button. Let's add a border 0 pixels, and background should be $theme color, and save. And let's add a padding of 4 pixels and a height of 40 pixels. This way we will keep the symmetry of our input and button, and the padding should be 10 pixels vertical. Now for the button, I will use margin top of 20 pixels as well. Let's go, and I need to move out of sign in. Here we go. And I need a padding of 4 pixels and 20 pixels to make it a bit larger. And the height should be 39, I guess. Yeah, 39 is good. Now we need to check for the phone number. Let's go with I guess we should remove this number thing because it is adding. Here we go. Now it is time to add the Firebase, but we will do it in next video. Before that, let's create one more UI, and that is to move this div to a method. Let's call it const, and the const is auth UI or maybe auth view. And for auth view we will add a return, and the rest is same, and we will simply add auth view. Now I need to add one more view, that is the code view, that is verify view. And for that verify view we will use one more block, and that is verify phone number, and we will call it we have sent an SMS verification code to your or maybe just add a phone number here. Let's add a span with class name of B, and let's add +92 308 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and save. And now just add an verify view instead. We have sent an SMS verification code to this random number, and we need to remove this select, and we will call it enter code here and save. Here we go. We will switch these views depending on the status. So let's add use state, use effect, and we need to check for the SMS or maybe code sent false, and inside a sign in we need to connect it as well, and let's quickly connect it. Sign in, and we need to import connect from React Redux and save. And for the const code sent equals props, and we can now simply check for code sent, then verify view, otherwise we will add auth view. This way we can easily switch between sent view or verification view and enter your phone number view. Great. This is it for this video, and in next video we will go with Firebase to connect our sign in phone number verification auth flow. So see you in next video.